A woman curiously looked through some wedding photos until she realized she knew the groom. To her surprise, it was her husband of 17 years in the photos, and she wasn't the bride with him. Stories of infidelity and double lives are more openly talked about nowadays, with people sharing their own experiences online. And with the internet keeping everybody connected, we've heard the most bizarre real-life stories that leave us wondering, why and how did this happen? In the United Kingdom, a woman named Louise Givney had been in an unconventional marriage with her husband, Maurice. While she worked as a nurse, he was a big shot in the oil industry and was constantly in the Middle East. The couple had a unique love story, first meeting in the late 1990s while partying at a nightclub in Nigeria. She was working as a nurse, while he was working as a quantity surveyor. They hit it off well, and even though he needed to be away a lot for work, they made their long-distance relationship work, or at least, that's what I thought. They both had never been married when they met, but had one child each. Together, they shared a son. In 2013, Ive was scrolling through Maurice's family's Facebook pages until she came across something strange. His sister was in a headpiece, and another sister was dressed for a wedding. Because she wasn't invited, Ive had a strange hunch that her husband had gotten married to someone else. She even tried to tell her friend about her instinct, but her friend simply responded by saying, "Don't be ridiculous." However, Ive couldn't let the idea go. She continued to search Facebook for answers until she finally came across a wedding photo with her husband right smack in the middle. It happened just 11 months before her shocking discovery. It was then that her stomach dropped. There they were, all smiling and happy, the bride and the groom. The groom was her husband, and the bride was another woman. The woman turned out to be Suzanne Prudhoe, who lived in a town in Worcestershire. She was too close for comfort. She lived only 100 miles away from Wirral, where Ive lived with her sons. "I can't believe what I'm seeing," she told her friend. Ive immediately got to the bottom of the controversy, and she discovered that Suzanne was as clueless as she was. The other woman believed that Maurice was divorced. Although they were away from one another a lot during their marriage because of Maurice's job, Ive could have never imagined her husband living a double life. She thought they were doing well as a couple, and the sudden discovery broke her. Ive put great importance on their marriage, and she couldn't believe her husband was capable of doing that to her. She shared, "The overwhelming emotion is one of absolute betrayal. It's not just an affair. Marriage is a declaration of love and commitment. When you believe you're in a contented relationship, it's not something you can ever contemplate." In 2014, Ive decided to take her husband to court, and he received a 6-month sentence for his crime. Despite acknowledging that she was a victim of bigamy, she chose not to let her husband's crime define her. Instead, she saw the bright side of things. Ive and her sons are now free of Maurice, who chose to lie to them for years. Now she is happily divorced and dating a new man. Ive has also courageously chosen to share her story through a book titled Face of a Bigamist. Meanwhile, Suzanne Prudhoe chose to remain with Maurice. He continues to work in the Middle East and would constantly fly home to visit his second family.